Okay, guys, thanks for waiting. Math test. When we was creating our concept for urban planning, we kind of faced quite a few disagreements, shall we say, guys? We didn't actually realise how important sociology, politics, and culture was when thinking about urban planning. So it was kind of hard to create an idea that was balanced. You know, we had to consider political ideas, so whether people would have the same lifestyle, income, like everyone would be equal. But then we kind of had to bring it back down to the ground, and you know, our whole idea was to create a city that was completely green and clean, and to suit the people. And we realised that the people are the most important because it's the people that makes the city. So we had to consider fulfilling people's needs. You know, you can't just have a city where there's no shops or cinemas, or otherwise life would be really boring. So we worked really hard on this model. It was a nightmare bringing it here, you know, in the rain. We couldn't get cars, we had to walk it over with umbrellas. So credit where it's due, we all worked really hard on this, and we just want to say that it's not as easy as it looks. You know, we're not as cool as the music guys, you know, we went for the slightly geekier option, shall we say. I'll pass over to Nanki, who's going to elaborate a little bit more on the concepts of our city. Give her a round of applause.
So when we all opted for urban planning, it was basically because we thought we had to design a city, just about how the buildings would look or the roads, and we thought it was going to be pretty simple. But little did we know that we'd be given lessons on life or mountain climbing, for that matter. So basically, while we were planning the city, we all had different ideas in our minds, because we all come from different backgrounds and we have different ideas on how a city should be. Somebody wanted a city, filled with rich people only, and somebody wanted a city which didn't have malls or expensive cars or any sort of luxuries. So when we started the mind mapping, we all came up with these different ideas, and they were all really different. So then finally, we decided that if we go and try to build a city from scratch, it was going to involve a lot of other things than just planning roads. Like you have to rely on an economic structure, on how are we going to get the imports and the exports in the city, or how is it going to function. So we decided to take inspiration from one of the major cities, and we just decided to make it a bit better. So, because we realized that what we were aiming for was a utopia, which isn't realistic, so we tried to aim for something more realistic, and we came up with a design for a city. And the model you can see in front of you is just a part of it.
Morning, everyone. We have sorry if the resolution is going to be a little bad, but this is a computer-generated model of this, and that's created on a software called Google SketchUp. So the whole idea was basically to get all the good stuff and all the people and all the trees and everything on top, and move every service, like the trains and the roads and everything underground. So we created sort of a 3-tier system like this. You have all the, canals and trees and walkways on top, with the roads are one level below that. So that what this does is all the pollution and all the heat generated by all those vehicles stays underground and is removed with ventilation fans. Below that, we have the subway. Here. Now, there are no exits for the roads in the city, so there's no cars in the city. Everyone commutes using subway trains. Moving on. This is a rainwater harvesting system. Below each green area, like grass is 10 times the absorbing power of concrete, water absorbing power. So the water filters through the grass, collects onto this trough, and then it enters the canal. Therefore, no rainwater is ever wasted. In case the canal ever overflows, it moves into this excess drain where the water just, well, it's collected. We're using a lot of glass. Now, the use of glass enables a lot of natural light to come in. Therefore, we don't waste electricity artificially lighting any of the buildings. So, everything is glass. All walls, all bridges, everything is glass. Secondly, as you can notice, a lot of area is green. Now, if you put a lot of green area in the city, it cools it down. It's also aesthetically pleasing. We also have a canal in between. Apart from the water harvesting part of it, it cools the city down. It's nice to walk on the canal in the evening, and happy people means less crime and a better city. The roofs, as you can see, have solar panels. This is a farm in between. Now, if you grow your own food, each building grows its own food. You don't need to import food from other places. Therefore, it's greener. Yeah, these are the panels. Each building generates its own electricity. And see, all roads are either overground or underground. So, as mentioned earlier, this prevents any heat from being on the ground. There are only people and cycles allowed on the surface itself. Everyone else uses these metro trains. No one has cars, no one has any other form of transport. So this is our city, and we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Another thing we wanted to emphasise when creating our city is something that Mr. John Moore mentioned, is re-educating people to be green and clean and not seeing recycling and being self-sufficient as a hindrance, more as a help to the environment. I think, generally speaking, our generation is a lot lazier than previous ones. You know, it's just as easy to throw, you know, an empty packet of crisps on the floor, but how hard is it really to, you know, separate cans from plastic? You know, so we just want to make it second nature to kids to be environmentally friendly, and the main part of our city is this whole idea of being self-sufficient, you know, not having to rely on, you know, imports and exports, but growing your own food. The thing on top of the building, I think it's a great idea, but obviously this sort of city would have to be somewhere where the weather is relatively balanced. I mean, you couldn't put a farm on top of a building anywhere in Britain. It rains all the time, so we wouldn't be able to grow much food, but if we had it somewhere where, you know, it had a definite cold, rainy season and a definite hot summer, then, you know, maybe it would work. But the whole idea is that we can apply what we have here in the real world. It's not just something we sketched up on the computer, you know, we actually had to really think, you know, could this work? And as a mountain man pointed out, there are cities where this actually happens. Malaysia?
Seoul.
So in South Korea, they've actually used this. Whether it's cost, is it expensive? Is it expensive? Well, depending on how rich your country is, you know. Maybe this is possible. So, are you guys ready? I'm going to stop talking and hand over to my fellow delegates. So, give them a round of applause once again.
Now for the things that can't be made with hands, we made a brief presentation in form of Prezi. In this presentation, we're going to talk about how we're going to deal with the different types of waste and how we will provide energy with efficiency. So, firstly, we're going to make a recycling bin for every block so that materials such as plastic, paper, cans, and glass could be reused. And then we're going to promote the usage of biodegradable and compostable materials for materials like plastics, paper, and cotton, etc. And then we're going to To deal with the human waste and excretion, we're going to use a system that is currently used in one of the eco-city in Sweden called Gothenburg. So firstly, all the waste is flushed and it will go to the factory. Then it will be left to dry for a day. And then it will be burned in 60 to 70 degrees Celsius in insulating device. And then the methane gas that is provided from the burned waste will be transferred through the pipe to each house, and it will go to the pipes, and it will be used as a source to warm the house. And the leftovers, the burnt ash, could be used as a fertilizer.
So what is biothermal energy? Biothermal energy is mainly changing biomass into biogas by burning human and animal waste. It is really efficient because we can recycle 30% of this energy and it's totally renewable. The exhausted gas of this process is NH4, which is 20 times more eco-friendly than CO2. The reason for why we chose biothermal energy is because there are a lot of sources and it is easy to use.
You know, the wastewater, when we have finally dealt with it and we will have the sludge there, the sludge will go through the pipes to the factories, and it is dehydrated into a machine with a temperature of 450 degrees Celsius. Then it will be rinsed out in a machine with a 2-disc counterclockwise rotation to separate the liquid from the waste. Then it will go through chemical reactions to kill bacteria and smell as well. Then it will be dried, melted, made into powder, broken down, and the final result is sludge cake, as you can see. The sludge cake is used as concrete material.
Ways. And first, we work with some wind turbines on hills. Wind pushes around the blades, which spin the turbines and generate energy. It depends on the amount of wind, how much energy is created. But normally, one generates enough for an average UK house with 4 people living in it. We could try to generate as much as possible by putting them on hills surrounding the city, like in Greenland, New Zealand. It costs about $1.3 to $2.2 million to install, but New Zealand of this wind turbine only needed its first major repair after 17 years it has operated from 1993 and is still going now. As long as you have the right kind of city, wind turbines are an efficient way to produce energy.
We would also have a water turbine, which works similarly to the wind turbine, except it uses a current to push around the blades and spin the turbine to generate energy.
Okay, another form of generating energy is parabolic solar reflectors. Now what you have is a giant disk, it's essentially a mirror. And in this you have a trough which contains a synthetic oil. Now when the sun's rays falls on all of these glass plates or mirrors, it reflects the sunlight onto this trough, therefore it boils the oil. Now this oil goes and it converts, using a heat exchanger, it starts to boil water. And this steam is then passed through a turbine which spins the blades and generates electricity using a generator. So this is a more efficient way of generating electricity from the sun.
Another source of energy would be solar panels. They absorb radiation from the sun to generate energy. The amount of energy generated depends on how much the sun shines on them. We would have the solar panel farms on top of buildings so we can maximise the amount of energy generated from them. By having them on top of buildings, they'll always be exposed to the sun when it's shining and won't be blocked by shadows, so they can absorb more radiation. One panel can produce up to 290 kilowatts of energy, and they can last 25 years. These are convenient because they will produce energy. Depending on the kind of city, solar panels are an efficient way to make energy. Both solar panels and wind turbines use the weather, so relying on just one wouldn't work. Because having energy would rely on being sunny or windy all the time. But by having both solar panels, wind turbines, and also a water turbine, we will be able to generate energy all year round in different kinds of weather.
I can notice some people are falling asleep, maybe. I think that some people this is the most exciting of topics, but every single person in this group is really passionate about looking after the environment. And personally, before this experience, I was never really much of a recycler or being green and clean, but I'm more for the people and looking after the people. And the reason why these both parts of our sections go hand in hand is because looking after the environment and educating the kids about the environment actually makes life better for the people. So the two kind of go hand in hand in the sense that, if the environment's happy, then the people will be happy. Sickness will be reduced, and like Ab said, happy people means less crime. I just want to wake everyone up, and I think my group deserves a massive round of applause. We worked our butts off for this model, so all come and have a good look at it, because we're probably going to smash it to bits, the amount of trouble it's caused us this morning. In the wind and rain, we managed to get it here, so thanks guys.